What's up, Desktopers? Xavier Wills here for Desktop Bodybuilding. I'm here with Brett the Butcher Wilkin and Stanimal I, and we're wrapping up and reviewing the 2022 UK Arnold Classic. The results just basically came out, and Andrew Jack wins his second comp from 2 pro contests, takes this one out. We agreed with the results, Brett, pretty much in our prejudging review. Some people were saying we're hating on Andrew, and we still had him winning, so I don't know what the deal was there, but Stan, what did you think of the show? I'll go to you first. What do you think about Andrew Jack winning this? And we'll go through some of those other placings very, very soon.
Well, I think, I was expecting a little more from Andrew. I thought he was going to bring a better, push his conditioning a little more for this, but it's probably like just saving for the Olympia. But that was good enough to win, so good call for him, I guess. But I was expecting to see him a little sharper from the back, like fix a couple things. But no, that was a strong showing. Still, of course, is still a great physique, very complete, a lot of detail. Like he's got this, all these details everywhere. So it's a great package. Then Patrick Johnson in second. That was a great showing of him. I think. I thought he looked fantastic, very dense, very conditioned. Then we had James third and Martin fourth.
Yeah, and we actually had Mark Hector in fifth as well, which was sort of a surprise. But I'll quickly just go to Brett. Brett, what did you think about, I suppose, the overall results? Because as Stan mentioned, we had Patrick Johnson in second, who Nathan Diasha as well in the comments says that he thinks Patrick Johnson actually should have won. So we'll get to that as well. And then we also had in third place, we had James Hollingshead, who looked like he was going to be in fourth by all the call-outs after prejudging. He did come back better, in my opinion. And then we had our boy Martin Fitzwater in fourth and Mark Hector in fifth, which was a surprise because I think the final call-out didn't include Mark Hector, included Jamie Christian at the prejudging. So what was your thoughts on the overall results, and were you surprised by some of those placings?
So I was more so surprised on how much some guys improved in just that short time frame. Yeah. Maybe it was maybe they didn't do anything. They had feet up and they just let the body settle down a little bit more. The nerves were gone. Got some sweat going in that prejudging. It carried over. One guy I really want to stick that out to is James. I thought James looked 5% tighter at finals. Like I was super impressed when he came out there at finals. And I also think Andrew looked better. I think Andrew was maybe. It was one of those things. I think it just, as they posed through the day, he just tightened up. I don't think he ate anything in between that time, and he got better in the finals. So, props to them. Like I think the crowd and everybody wanted James up there to be, first and second with Andrew, and it was close. I feel like he jumped Martin there at finals. I guess we'd have to look at prejudging scores and stuff like that, but it kind of just appeared that way on how they left off prejudging. But you have to give the Patrick, like you said. We were texting Nathan Diasha, and Diasha said that in person he looked amazing. He has that very, very thick, dark skin that you can't see as much detail on video, on pictures. But in person, he said that he thought he should have even won. So that shows you how good Patrick was looking in person. And very, very well earned second place there. It was it shifted. Like we said, we all had Andrew. We said we all had Andrew win in, so we were right there. But Patrick was definitely a surprise. Then James coming back and giving everybody a run there at finals was fun to watch. That was cool at the end.
Cool. Let's nail in on a few of these guys because it was very, very interesting. In second place, we'll mention once again Patrick Johnson. What did you think about Patrick Johnson, Stan, and the package he brought to the stage? Do you think it was worthy of where he placed?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, we talked a little bit about him, after our last chat the other day with Nathan, and we thought he looked crazy, just that he's not very known yet, so they wouldn't necessarily reward him. That's what Nathan was saying. But he did get rewarded, and just super dense, super grainy, grainy look. Like it's just very complete. Then it's apple and oranges between him and Andrew is just completely different, two very different physiques. So but yeah, I wouldn't be mad with he brought better conditioning overall than Andrew. So
yeah, and it was interesting because James, I think, definitely came back even better. I think that he didn't diet away too much like muscle this time like he did for the Olympia. I think he just came in too flat and just he couldn't catch it back and couldn't get that fullness back no matter how much he sort of carved up. This time it seems like he didn't lose the muscle, but maybe prejudging he was a little bit flatter because he seemed like Brett said earlier, he came back better. What do you think about James, and do you think that he, should have been second? Do you think he should have been fourth? What do you think? Do you think he could have won?
Who?
Yeah, you Stan, yeah.
No, I mean, in my pronostics, I had him James in second. I don't think I've seen enough footage to see the difference between morning and night, but I thought he was maybe too full at one point. Maybe that's what I gauge from the, sometimes when you're too full, it's like you don't have that same separation. That's what he looked like to me, but I don't know. I think there was a prejudging video, and there was not a lot of time between prejudging and finals anyway, so I don't know.
What was it, like 4 hours, 3 hours, 4, I guess?
Yeah, 3.
But yeah. I agree with you, Stan. I think he was plenty full in prejudging, and so what I think happened is I don't think he ate anything.
Yeah,
he just kept it the way it was, just waited until our finals, and then just that layover of letting things, after going through rounds of prejudging,
Right.
pushing food through, pushing water through. I think it primed him up really good for finals.
Yeah, for sure. And do you know what the thing is as well? I didn't even really think about that factor, the fact that, food's probably actually digested. He's obviously posed once in prejudging. Sometimes you actually need to actually push blood into the muscle to actually get the carbs sort of into the muscles properly and filling out the muscle, because you guys know, obviously, when you train, sometimes you've been eating carbs all day, you don't feel particularly full. You go into the gym and train and you're as full as a house, and sometimes it doesn't happen at the start of a workout. It happens later on. So I reckon he sort of filled out from that prejudging and then just got better and came in, with a better look at finals.
Yeah.
Possibly. So yeah, that's a good assessment, man, because I've never heard anyone really explain it exactly that way. The fact that he maybe hasn't eaten more, it's just all filled him out, a little bit later. So no, that's a cool explanation. So
you actually see that happen, and people aren't used to that. They're like, oh, you have to go eat in between prejudging and finals. Like you need to go get something in. But a lot of times, if you already made those mistakes the night before, if you ate too much, it's better just to wait, just let things get pushed through naturally, and then just get your pump from your pump up and your posing. And I pretty sure that's what he did. I mean, I'm sure we'll find out, but it was a good look there at finals. You could see a lot more definition, and the crowd was behind him too, if you notice. I think it was his routine. His routine is really, really good.
Absolutely. And a few people are asking for placings as well. So I'm going to say this now, and people can revert back to 8 minutes in this video or 7 minutes 40 or whatever, and we can tell them that if they ask again. But basically, first it was Andrew Jacked. In second place, we had Patrick Johnson. Third place, James Hollingshead. Then we had fourth place, Martin Fitzwater. Fifth place, Mark Hector. Sixth place, I assume, was Jamie the Giant Christian, which... Let's get to that for a little bit, because he came in sixth, I assume in this show. I only saw the top 5 called out, but it really did seem like after prejudging by the call-outs, he was going to be locked into that top 5. What did you think about Mark Hector placing above him, Brett? And do you think that it was the right call?
I mean, I can't really say exactly. I don't remember seeing that part that they had him above Mark at 5th and 6th. I knew it was.
Don't quote me on that, but I think at prejudging, I saw a 5-man call out without Mark Hector and with Jamie.
But yeah, maybe that's why. That's also why there. I think at the end of prejudging, they brought out 5 through 8 to do one last comparison. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That might have pushed them ahead right there before finals. Then they came back to finals a little bit better. I'm not. I think those guys are both very, very close there, and I think it could have gone either way. I'm not upset on him getting 6th and him 5th, but. Good, like I said, still a good first showing for Mark. His progress over this last year, and now they both just need to keep running with it.
Yeah, so we'll go to Mark Hector. We've sort of seen this before, but there might be some new videos and photos and whatnot popping up from the finals, and obviously from the prejudging and stuff as well. But I think Mark Hector, I'll get your opinion, Stan, because Brett's sort of given his opinion. I've given my opinion at the prejudging. What do you think about Mark Hector? Because obviously it's such an impressive physique, and he's up against such a tough lineup. He only really got beaten by guys that are all Mr. Olympia quality. I think, you can say Martin's Mr. Olympia quality. Some people had him in second in this show, and he ends up placing in fourth against guys like James Hollingshead, who brought a great package, and obviously Patrick Johnson, who Nathan Diasha thought could have beaten Andrew Jacked, who was absolutely amazing as he was at Texas. So what did you think about Mark Hector, and how far do you think he is off these top 4 sort of guys?
I just think like he made like amazing progress. Obviously, his legs are huge. I think just he's got very wide structure. Like his shoulders are so wide that he needs to fill out more. Like especially like through his chest and just yeah to fill out that super wide clavicles he has. That's the only thing I would say. Like you just need to keep on working. Like he knows what to do. Like he's grown a lot. He's just gonna keep getting better. I would just like to see more thickness across the chest and the back, um, to really fill out his frame. He's just got a lot of space to fill out.
Yeah, for sure. So his partner, Kerry Sexton, who's an IFB pro, I believe she does bikini, says he's up 27.4 pounds from his last show. Reportedly, that's his stage weight increase. So do you think that he could have been maybe, Brett mentioned it, he said if he was maybe 16 to 18 pounds bigger, just a little bit sharper, he would have done better. Do you think that's the case, Dan?
Potentially. I mean, usually a better conditioning, make you seem bigger. But I think from what I'm seeing from him, like the main thing is just that thickness here because he's very wide. I would like to see more balance from like front to back compared to that width.
Yeah.
That's what I really see, and so being tighter wouldn't fix that. I think so. I think it's just it's a very tough lineup. Fifth place there is great, and it's great showing, great improvements, and yeah, in a year or more, and it's gonna if he adds another 10 pounds like that, it's gonna be very dangerous really quickly.
It must be such a frustrating feeling because obviously you guys like Stan, like you've come up from all the other divisions. So have you, Brett, like to be coming up and giving it all for a contest and people just going, you need more size. It's like he'd be like, I put 27.4 pounds on. God damn. But obviously it's the reality of the situation. I think he could have just come in a bit crisper because he has such a premium shape if he was just that bit drier and stuff in the upper body. But he did bring pretty decent conditioning. But I think had he pushed that a little bit harder, I think it would have been maybe more impressive.
Maybe.
Yeah. So let's move on. Let's talk about. I actually want to show some of these other videos as well. I've got to actually do it from his page. I changed the way I'm looking at this now, so I can actually see your guys' faces at the same time, which is for the most part, which is good. But we'll touch on Jamie as well. I want to give him his credit in the wrap up of this one. I thought he looked really good. Stan, have you seen any of Jamie yet, or do you want me to
not much? No, not really on stage. I don't think I've seen anything.
I'll bring up some video because he looked. I think he always looks a lot better on stage than he does in those pre-contest photos as well. Because I think this is the top. No, this is a top 6 sort of call or 7. Yeah. No, 6 call out. Okay. Hopefully this wasn't the one I was thinking of, but I thought Jamie was on this side and Mark Hector wasn't in here, but this might have been a different one. This was only 18 minutes ago it was posted. So
yeah, see here they had Martin compared to Jamie and Mark and 4th, 5th.
And it's tough for Martin here too because he's standing next to a guy who's 6'5", so that makes it sort of tough in terms of just like size-wise standing there. And then he's standing right between Andrew Jacked here, and he's 6'2" or something. So it makes Martin look small in comparison. But look at like when Martin actually hits his shots, his quads and everything look outrageous. So I mean, like my opinion of this show is sort of up in the air a little bit because Nathan Diash is telling us in the private group that he had Patrick winning. He said that Patrick should have won this show. He said you can't see it in person. He said because he's got that dark skin like Akeem Williams. He said you can't see it on video because he's got that dark skin like Akeem Williams. But he said in person he's absolutely crazy. So you got to pretty much say about, but if you got that Nathan Diash saying that, who's finished 7th in the Olympia, then there's got to be some credence to the fact that Patrick was that good. So because looking at the photos and videos, I would say I'd probably have Martin in 2nd at prejudging and probably 3rd at finals, maybe. Hard to tell by the videos, obviously. And then I would have had Patrick in probably 4th, 5th, just by the photos, probably like 5th or even 6th because Jamie was really, really big in Stan M side by side. But no, probably I'd have him probably 4th by the photos and videos.
Patrick is very dense, very complete. Like there's nothing missing. He even got calves, hamstring, quads. Like he doesn't have like the most, the smallest waist, but he's just very, very proportionate and missing nothing. He just looks dense. Like he's very. Yeah, it's very complete. Very, very complete. So yeah, imagine on that. Like you could see on some shots, I think he posted on Instagram before that he had that graininess, like he was coming really rock hard. So then it just, some kind of like Keon, like that superior genetics, and Drew just winning the show based on that crazy genetics. It's part of the sport too. So
Absolutely. For me, like Andrew Jack is very much like what would you say, like a Cedric McMillan type, where he can come in not at 100%, but that sort of looks great on his physique, and he's going to beat a heap of guys that really have probably, come in better condition and maybe with more dense muscle or something like that, and he's still going to beat him because he's structure and he does have a ton of muscle in that frame.
Yeah.
Now, this comment here, the guy in the yellow trunks, which is Patrick Johnson, says use lotion instead of oil and tan. So he definitely, I think that Patrick Johnson looked a little bit dry, so I don't think his condition shined through perfectly on the live stream. What did you guys think about that? Brett, what did you think? Do you think he just needed a bit more like oil or something to really shine like an Andrew Jack sort of does with his sort of stage polish?
I don't know that that's an example of so much coming down to oil. You know what I mean? Like, I think that has to come down to just the thickness of the skin, like the Akeem Williams. It's just something that doesn't transpire to, lifetime video. It's just like it. You can see it up close when you're at the judging tables. That's why it still gets recorded, but you're not going to see it from a distance, no matter how much oil you put on you and things like that. So I don't think it just has to do with lotion and oil. That's not it.
Yeah, for sure. And just popping up some of these results. I wish I could do it. Actually, I can do a little post and put results up on the bottom of the screen. Actually, I'll put a slider across the bottom of the screen with the results so people can see it as we talk about it. But going forward, Brett, do you think Martin should do another show, or do you think he should wrap it up? So he could do the Legion and compete with Stan in 2 weeks' time, which he did mention in my interview with Martin, which is one day out, which is actually a really cool one. We were both super just chill, and it was a very sort of relaxed one-on-one because we've known each other better. So that was really cool. So anyone watching this, go check that interview out. But yeah, do you think, Brett, that Martin should wrap it up or do Legion?
I mean, you got to think he had a great run here. You got second at the Texas, got fourth at the Arnold UK in a stacked lineup. Mattering, we'll find out this week where his head's at, where his finances are at. But I would, if he asked me, I'm going to tell him to go for it. Go to Legion, give it a shot. You're going to be at least, have a good chance, with so far who's announced. So go in there, just give one last shot to make the Olympia and finish out your year strong.
Yeah, if I was advising Martin and he has the means to be able to do it, then go do it. But he actually revealed something. He said, I think he said at the Texas Pro, here's a cool photo with Ronnie and Jay either side. That'd be super cool. Yeah, if I was Martin, I would go and do that show because he's had a great year and he can qualify for the Olympia, and it's not that much longer really to the Olympia when you sort of weigh it up. So how many weeks are we out of the Olympia now? It's about 10 or so?
11. Yeah, 11. A little over 11.
So 11 weeks to the Olympia, does the Legion. It's 9 weeks out, Obviously, you're going to have some good guys doing that now as well, and it's going to be a really cool show. So, Stan, how excited are you for that one? I'm sure you're probably like, Martin, don't come. But
I'm super excited. Actually, yeah, like especially like today, like right now, it's like day by day, there's more changes, and it's a very different look that I'm bringing. So I'm excited to show that. But no, I just if I was Martin, I probably would do the show too. I just heard him like when he was talking with you, he was like, well, honestly, if I don't win the Arnold UK, I'm not trying to go to the Olympia he wants to be Mr. Olympia. So he was like, he'll be back to the drawing board. So it makes sense too, like the sooner he gets back to work, the more progress he makes. But that's definitely his goal. I wouldn't be, I'm happy to compete against everybody. So I'm bringing my best, so I'm not worried about that.
Hey, sorry, Stan, is the Legion, is it this like coming Saturday or is it the fall? Is it October 9th?
It's the 9th, yeah. It's the next. It's on Sunday, but it's not this one. It's
Sunday. Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Now I'm just looking quickly at the checks here, right? I can't see Andrew Jacks because he's got that trophy in front of it. I think I can see a 3, so I don't know if that's 30,000 or what. But second place was only 7,000, and then third place was 3,000. That's like a huge drop off. Like I know the Arnold Classic Australia was giving away more prize money than that.
But I thought first place was 50.
I thought it was meant to be 40 or 50, but I can't tell. I can't see that check properly. I'm going to try to find a photo of Andrew because
Martin got only 2 for fourth.
Yeah, well, yeah, James got 3 for third. That's pretty. If first place is 50, they can divvy that up a little bit better. Don't get me wrong. I think I'm all for the guy who wins getting a much bigger chunk from the other dudes, but that would be pretty crazy. I think if it's all the photos. Oh wait,
maybe
I can't quite see it there.
Next one, no.
30,000.
That's rough. You fly all the way up. You go all the way there. Damn.
I want to see if there's anything actually put out that is going to be more than that, because obviously there's a bit of controversy about the prize money and whatnot. And I don't want to start anything as well here, so I don't know if it was originally 30,000 or what the deal was. But yeah, I did think it was meant to. I heard 40 or something. I thought it was meant to be 40 last year. I heard 50 as well, and then obviously it's 30,000. But he got 10 times the amount that James Hollingshead got in third place. Do you think that's they should divvy it up a little bit better, Brett?
Yeah, that's not good. I'm not. Yeah. I ain't gonna go too much, but also what this weekend kind of turned into, with 3 days before announcing Arnold's not gonna be there, Lee Haney backed out. Just the shit show it kind of went through here at the end. Obviously, there's a lot of answers that need to be, answered here. Or sorry, there's a lot of questions that need to be answered here moving forward with the show. I guess they probably just did what they're the best they could do. But it's interesting to know where that money might have came from. If it did end up being, Jim and the IFBB had to cover that, and so maybe they had to reduce it. I don't know. So I'm sure we'll find out. There'll be some breaking news somewhere. Nick, but BB and BS will cover it. We'll find out pretty soon.
He'll find out the juiciest stuff and he'll report it all, I'm sure. So he actually reached out to us, because remember when we asked the question about his channel and all that sort of stuff, and it was cool because it's like, Stan, you gave your opinion, and people in the comments were like, I think you gave a fair assessment, and he was complimentary. He appreciated your opinions, even if some of the stuff we did say was sort of not too super critical or anything like that, but it was just something where I don't know what's going on here. Okay, we got the real deal Chris Cormier. We're going to include him in the.
Oh, the real deal.
What's up, Chris?
So maybe point. What if the money was in pounds? What's the difference? Does anybody know that?
There'll be more. There'll be like, I think right now I don't know, but it would be at least, it was before. It's probably 1.5 right now.
Chris, what do you think of the show?
So like one US dollar, how many pounds?
Well, shit. Actually,
That's what I'm trying.
I forgot about the one cat that was training in oxygen.
Patrick Johnson second.
Yeah, I forgot about him. Yeah, he looks good. I mean, Andrew Jack, I thought his he just had the overall package better. Some people had better body parts going on. Hollister, his back to a bicep was a lot better than what I thought.
Yeah, it looked improved, man. His back shots and front shots I thought were crazy, but from the side, maybe his leg wasn't quite as crisp.
The lat spread from the back he can improve just by using his hand positioning different than that. That's like the laziest way to hit a lat spread. That
with the wrist like sort of folded over sort of thing with it.
Bro, that's the worst thing you could do if you're trying to make a difference in your body in that pose. And his abs like that. But the thing is, if he would have had, let's say he would have had fantastic abs, right? Which they're weak, and he's hitting that ab shot like they're strong and they're weak, right? So let's say they're very strong. Let's say he changed the hand position in his back. He would have been pushing closer to Andrew Jack.
Yep.
And because he improved that much. Side tricep was really good. That's the thing that stood out a lot to me, those points.
For sure. What do you think about the overall results with, like, obviously Martin in fourth? Because it seemed like after prejudging, it was between Martin and Patrick Johnson for second, and then Martin falls to fourth. So what did you think about him falling to fourth, and then also like Patrick Johnson?
It's just because you can always, a taller guy, at a certain time or another in the show can seemingly overpower another bodybuilder. In my opinion, Martin, I thought, I saw his side tricep. I mean, the side chest, I think it's just lackluster with Martin. He could use his body a lot more prominent in that pose and make him a stronger pose with that. I think he was just sitting in it like so. A couple of poses, it was just a little bit questionable how he did them to me, Martin. And then, but that back double it looked really good, nice and thick and complete from the back from Martin. But I got to say, when he went up against, when he got compared, when he hit that shot, it didn't look as strong for some reason. I don't know why.
I got a question for you, Chris. Someone said in the comments about Martin, they said he's posing on stage and he doesn't have, I don't know if they said the confidence or the presence or something like that, or the enthusiasm.
Yeah, you see in his face, it's like he's not, like you can, I mean, a judge can, you know, just, you give little signals to the judge with your face, your facial expressions. Some is just out of control. I'm just making ugly faces. But some people, they can just hit a shot. The body, the face is relaxed and utilize how they wanted to present to the crowd. But the body is tight. That's when you know full control of everything. You've been practicing so many times. You're able to utilize your body and your face and everything like that. The way you go into the pose, you hit it aggressively, or you're just laying into it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And I've seen, like, even you back in the day, Chris, like, I can't remember, maybe remembering sort of like Flex Wheeler. He would pose and hit a shot. And I remember specifically Flex hitting a shot in one of his Mr. Olympia routines, and he hits it and he just like has this look like, yeah, I know, I've got this shit. And he just nods and just like smirk on his face, like, yep. And he's posing hard with his physique, but his face is so relaxed and confident. It just says something. And I think Martin, probably obviously being 25 years old, being on an Arnold Classic UK stage, it's a big stage, coming out for the first time. I reckon he was just thinking about how he's hitting the shots and forgetting about the face.
It's all new. You know, it's all about, it's almost like a really good rookie year for him, because he put it together more than the last year. You know, last year he was really green up there with everything all around, but he's putting together some different things, trying more effort in this posing, getting more bells and whistles going on in his physique as far as body parts improving. So he's coming along. It's just going to take a little time to get all those things. You know, some of the poses was just not right for him, I think.
Yep, for sure. Is there any specific ones you'd improve for him?
Well, that classic shot right here, that one wasn't done right.
Yeah.
You got to utilize your body also. You got to utilize your body. You can't just sit and stand straight up. You got to like contort your hips and everything to utilize your body to the best of your ability. And that one, side chest, was a little whatever. He chose to put his leg back in the side tricep, like a Dorian style of pose. I don't think that was good for him. I don't think it's right for his body. Huh?
Thickness. He's got too much thickness on the side to be doing that.
Yeah, you gotta use the classic way with that. And then I even noticed some other bodybuilders, they hit the side tricep and then they open up their body. Like if you don't have a small waist and granite abs, I wouldn't even switch to open up my body like that. Just something I noticed on a couple of guys. Yeah, just stuff like that.
Yeah, it's definitely a cool show. I don't know what this one is. I think this is another one of Andrew Jack coming out on stage. But yeah, it was definitely an interesting show. Like it seemed like one of those ones where there's a lot of people in the comments pretty much just saying how wrong the judging is, but from every different perspective. So we've got guys saying that, you know, James should have won. And then people like, do you think, I think that Martin could win this, you know, and people saying Jamie because he's 6'5" and huge and came in much better than he did a couple of weeks ago.
That's just fans. That's just fans of people, though.
Of course, yeah. It seems like there's a lot of debate around this one. So I'll put up a thing in the comments as well and ask people, put up a poll and say, who do you think, you know, should have placed second maybe or something? Because a lot of people do agree that Andrew Jack should have won ultimately, even if they don't think he was at his best. Now, Chris, how does this version of Andrew Jack, and I'll get your other guys' opinions as well, Brett and Stan, how do you think this matches up at the Olympia, and do you think he'll be better?
How do
you think this version of Andrew Jack would match up at the Olympia? Would it be top 10, top 6?
He'd definitely be in the top 10 for sure. It just depends, man. It's like he can look, a lot of people look, you know, a few notches down in there and how effective they can be in the show. That front double bicep, that front lat spread, all that stuff is better. He's gonna need more back. He's gonna need more back double bicep. That lat spread from the back is kicking some butt, but he's gonna need more overall thickness in that back double bicep, because he can easily get exposed with a nice back with a guy that got some height and some width and thickness.
Yeah. Where do you think it places, Brett?
Because what's that?
I was just saying to Brett, I said, where does Brett think that sort of version of Andrew places?
I don't. Yeah, like if he shows up like that, he's not in the top 6. I'll tell you that. That's my opinion right now.
With this Olympia, especially.
I think top 10. Yeah, he still can do that. Just if he shows up like that, like I said, he just won the Arnold UK. But you got to think like that extra level of crispness, that extra level of conditioning on the posterior chain. All those guys are going to have. I mean, just go off my hand right here. You got Rami, Brandon, Hadi. You got Nick. You got William Bonac, who's going to be really good again this year. You got Hunter, and then like you're competing against Hunter, Ian, Samson for that 6th spot. You know what I mean? So you're showing up like that. That's not, like I said, it's just not going to be crisp enough, especially at your first Olympia. You know what I mean? Like this is going to be his first one, so he's going to get judged pretty hard. So, but if he does improve that 10%, like he was talking about, we're waiting for that 10%. Then then I think he can get up and close to that. You know?
Yeah, absolutely. Stan, where do you have Andrew Jack placing at this year's Olympia? Where do you think he will place, and how do you think that this specific package, if you put it on the Olympia stage this year, would place?
I think he can place as high as top 3 if he comes in 100%. But the way he showed up today, he's definitely top 10. But I don't think, like Brett just said, I don't see him shaking out the top 6 so far. That condition on stage, he's just super good. Like he's got that, that crazy gifted genetics, and that's good enough to carry him to the top 10. But after that, like Brad just said, like all these guys are gonna be peeled, and you can get ahead of that with people who have like no body part missing and a lot of muscularity and better conditioning.
Yeah, I would just love to see Andrew Jack just 100%. Like if he can get that this year with all that new muscle. Like Chris, do you think that obviously Andrew Jack has a lot of added muscle? He's added a lot the last couple of years. Do you think that muscle this year can get ultra conditioned? Because he does have lines through his chest and he has lines in certain spots, but just from the back and in most side leg and stuff like that, he just needs more conditioning. Do you think he can get it?
Oh, well, there's going to be another degree of conditioning that he can obtain just by adding another year of training and diet and everything. So you can get to a certain level at this time, but the rest is going to come in just time. It's not like he's been on the stage that many times anyway.
Yeah. For sure.
So it's going to be another degree coming for sure.
Yeah. And we're forgetting about even some of the names in here as well. Look like Derek Lunsford. Like Derek Lunsford's another name in there as well at the Olympia. So we'll just name off a few of the top guys. You got Big Ramy, you got Derek Lunsford, you've got Brandon Curry, you got Hardy Chupin, you've got Nick Walker, you've got Hunter Labrada, you've got William Bonac. That's 7 names already, without adding in Ian Valier and a whole ton of other ones that I'm literally probably forgetting names here. This is just off the top of my head. So it's going to be, I mean, like Chris, like where does this rank in terms of like a top 10 of an Olympia lineup if all these guys do end up competing and they all make it to the stage, if there's no injuries or anyone pulling out? And then you've still got guys like Brett Wilkin on this podcast who can still qualify. And I think that Brett's probably going to shock a lot of people. And there's, obviously Stan as well. And you got a whole ton of other guys, and Martin might choose to try to qualify. So, and James Hollingshead. So there's a lot of names that can make up a pretty crazy top 10 to top 15.
Yeah, it's going to be definitely a really good 15, I think. In my opinion, everyone's getting better, looks like. But yeah, I think, for a minute, the sport I felt was kind of weakened as far as like depth, but then guys are starting to pick it up more, and I think it definitely added way more depth to the Olympia.
Yep. Forgetting Samson, who looks insane. There's another one.
Samson's going to be really good too. A lot of people forget about him sometimes.
I mentioned him. We've been seeing him. I agree with that, Chris. I agree with Chris, man. Like the last couple of years, like we kind of already knew where the top 6 were always going to be, and then 7, 8, 9, 10 would sprinkle in, But this year there's depth. Like I mean, like maybe not what it was in the 2000s or whatever, but there's more depth than there has been in the last couple of years. And that's what's really exciting about this year's Olympia is just the depth, and then seeing some of these guys, a lot of these guys for the first time. Like the Derek, the Andrew Jack, the improved Samson. So it's gonna be a fun Olympia. how deep the lineup's going to be and the storylines involved.
No, absolutely. This one from MVP. Fuad hates Andrew like no other. I think that no one hates Andrew. I don't think Fuad hates Andrew. I don't think we hate Andrew. It's more the fact that I think we just, like, if he says he's 70% and he's going to be better for the Arnold, 10% better and stuff, and he's not, we just basically say that. I still thought he should have won the show. I think the structure and everything is so crazy impressive. I'm such a fan of his physique, and I just, if someone's saying they're at 70%, you want to see 100. That's all that anyone wants. So, Chris, we mentioned about how much better he can get. Who else in this lineup, I suppose, in terms of like Patrick Johnson, how do you think he can do? Do you think he should continue competing and try to qualify for this year's Olympia?
Yes, I would definitely continue if I was him. He brought a decent package. I think, we see, Abdullah post some shots here every once in a while, but I just think that the more he gets out there, the more people see him, the better it's going to be for him in the future.
Yeah, no, absolutely. A few questions here for people. Everyone, Brett, everyone's still saying Martin Fitzwater to the 212 when he weighs about 240 pounds. So, or at least
This is a good point, because just to bring this up. So this is like, people are like, well, you're forgetting about Derek Lunsford and stuff. Like, one of those things, we need to see Derek on that open stage with these guys. If you guys are saying, if you're sitting here and calling Martin a 212 bodybuilder because of how he looks, what do you think? Just wait. Just think about what Derek's going to look like up there. Derek's going to have the craziest proportions on stage. Don't get me wrong. Tiniest waist, most flaring lats, flaring quads. But he's still going to be 225 to 230 pounds on stage. You know what I mean? And Martin's 15 pounds heavier than Derek. I've seen them next to each other. Martin's bigger than Derek. You know what I mean? So it's like everyone calling him a 212 bodybuilder in here and stuff. They don't realize what's going to happen when, what's Derek going to look like up there then too. He's going to be smaller. Doesn't mean he's going to lose. Everyone's like, oh, he looks small, he should lose. No, it's going to come down to it's going to come down to shape, conditioning, and posing.
Yeah.
Brett, here's one for you. Martin VIP. Oh no, this is not the right one. That's not what I was aiming for. The comments get moving. Martin looks small. Martin looks small, and Martin and Brett looks 212. So you apparently look 212, Brett. So
you got to spell my name right first, then I'll start listening to you.
Just change it one T. Derek stood near Nick and held his own. That's a good point, because obviously that guest posing with Nick, that's the most interesting thing. The fact that Derek was standing next to Nick Walker, both off season. I think that Derek was a little bit sharper, which obviously is a big advantage. We always see Kai Green at those guest posings looking like he's going to be win Mr. Olympia because he's so good in his off season and so conditioned. But I suppose like the fact that he stood next to Nick Walker, who seemed like he was enormous in all his off-season updates around that period. So I don't think he was like taking a break or anything like that. It just sort of led me to think that he can look huge standing next to other guys. When he stands next to a big Rami, I don't know how it looks, but people were talking about Nick Walker being, top 3. And you've seen Nick recently, Brett. Obviously he's, around the start of that Olympia prep, probably not going all out the time when you trained with him, completely with everything. But how did you think he looked in person? And the fact that, did you actually see Derek Lunsford at all while he was there?
I saw Derek in Dallas not too long ago. It was me, him, and Hunter. The only reason I'm saying this is just like body mass wise, like standing next to Hunter, he's significantly smaller.
It's a factor.
We'll find out. I just trained with Nick a couple weeks ago. Nick's looking absolutely huge. It's just, there's no denying that. But you also got to remember, Nick looks different on stage because he's also 5'6" as well. So it's like, it's going to be very interesting for both Derek and Nick to stand next to somebody like Andrew Jack, who's 6'2", really long. Like we saw, they're going to be like height-wise, they're going to look similar to what Martin looked up there, height-wise. You know what I mean? They appear smaller on stage because they're 5'6", standing next to these taller bodybuilders. So I'm just saying, get ready. If you're thinking that they're not good enough, or they're 212ers because of their height, that's not how it works.
Well, Lee Priest back in the day, he was not even a 200-pounder in some shows, and that was his best.
Right.
So you go and see that, and you're like, well, he's a 212 guy. Well, Lee can still place up there in the Olympia, and same as Hardy Chupin. Look at Hardy Chupin. He went from 212 to open, and I think that was probably the best move he ever made. And back in 2019, when Brandon Curry won the Olympia, I said that I thought that he should have been up in second and challenging Brandon Curry for the win. So, Hardy was deciding between 212 and open that year. He went open. yeah, he might have challenged for the win in the 212. He may have won the 212, but he challenged for the open Mr. Olympia win. So it doesn't exactly matter what weight you are. And also the fact that Martin and you and guys like that are so far over the weight cap for 212. If you went back to 212, imagine if Martin went back to 212 now, he would do terribly, I think, because he would not be half the bodybuilder he is now. So all that talk is crazy. So what's Martin's height? What do you reckon Martin's height is?
5'7".
5'7". Yeah, I mean, he'd be one of the taller guys in the 212. It's just the fact that he's standing next to giants in both their shows he's done. He was up on stage with the last show, Quinton Araya, who's 6'2", 6'1" at least. You got Andrew Jack, who's the same height, and then you've got all these other tall guys as well. Big Bundy, who's 6 foot something. So he just looks short in comparison, which makes, I suppose, when you see him side by side, you stand next to 300 pounders, I guess you sort of look 212.
Yeah, that's why the weight doesn't mean much. Like even when Sean won the Olympia in 18, he was 238. That was the lightest he has been on that stage for years.
Oh wow,
that's interesting, man.
Samir Banout won the Olympia. He was 186, if I'm not mistaken. Like Dexter, when he started, he was like around 208, and he looked amazing, like just about the same as he did his whole career. So
yeah. What do you guys think Sean Cormier should do?
It seemed like sometimes when people are a certain weight, trying to be 250 something or trying to be 260 something, if they just came down 7 to 10 pounds, they would still keep that same size, because when the muscle fills up with glycogen, you're gonna still get that feel, but it's gonna be tighter around the joints, and around the different cuts are gonna be deeper.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Yeah, how much did you weigh, Brett, when you did the Chicago?
I was like 240, 242, something like that.
Oh, how far are you off 212 then? Yeah.
But then when I came to the Arnold, I was 250, and I shouldn't have been. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I tried going a little too much. I should have been like 245. So that's why I'm not even shooting for a weight this time, because like Chris said, if you just focus on that conditioning, you're gonna look big. So I mean, I don't even care if I'm 240 again this year. It's just about the best look.
Exactly.
Yeah, because you remember Ronnie did that. Remember Ronnie Coleman did this back in the day, but you guys were kids. But back in the 2000, he was pushing 260 something on stage. But then when I saw that, I said, okay, I'm going to do the Arnold. He's going to do the Arnold, and I said, I'm going to go lighter. I'm going to go get down to 240 something. One of those problems is we got the same coach, and so Ronnie somehow came down to 248, and a lot of people say that's one of his best looks ever. That was 2001 Arnold Classic.
He was 248 at the Arnold that year.
248, brother, 248, and he still looked big, right?
Maybe I should go down to 212.
But I'm just saying that's what he did.
But you look even Derek, how he made weight last year. Like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, absolutely.
What do you say, Sam?
I said Derek, the way he made weight last year, he was probably 240, 250 off season, still like very conditioned, and he went all the way down to 212 and won it.
Yeah, the Honey still got him down there for sure.
Yeah. No, exactly. Here we go. Here's one. I haven't read this properly. Brett's wrong about Derek. Derek is a lot wider than Martin. Martin looks small because he doesn't have a wow factor. Everything just flows. Derek has wow factor like Hardy.
He's not wider than Martin. Don't say that. He appears wider because of the waist, like we just said, but he's not wider than Martin. Martin is wider than Derek in person, much wider.
Yeah, and you only get that perspective in person as well, or when the guys are directly side by side in photos.
Yeah, he does have the wow factor. Yeah, we're not debating that. We're dating. Now we're getting into the logistics of structure. You know what I mean? But appearance and illusion is what's going to take president here, and that's why Derek is so damn good. And he can, like I said, he can definitely be a top 3, top 5 guy this year. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking, if you just want to go based off structure, you guys call him Martin a 212, or Martin's wider than Derek is and thicker. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And Chris, back in the day, like I remember being shocked when I saw Jay Cutler guest posing in person. He came to Sydney. He was at the Australian Nationals guest posing, and I was competing as like a teenager, and he walked backstage. And he was walking along, and I literally just looked to the side and thought, who's that dude wearing posing trunks? So I thought someone couldn't be that wide and not be fat. He was just so crazy wide. And I was like, holy crap, that's Jay Cutler. And I just looked at him and I was blown away at the width of his shoulders. And you never notice that in photos individually because he doesn't have a super thin waist like you and Flex and all that had. So you can sort of, I suppose, attest to that because you were on stage with Jay Cutler. So how much do you, I suppose, notice the difference in person?
Yeah, I mean, because you got to think, I'm not mentally trying to see him like that. I'm trying to like make him as fucked up as possible mentally, in my mind. But after we retired, we can look back and see, and appreciate and also admire each other's work. And he was a big, thick dude, So, and then I could see he looked a lot better than I felt he was back then, as I see now, as a more objective eyes. But when I'm going against you, man, I'm just looking at your worst parts and I'm just looking at and paying attention to the worst parts about you, So that's the way I mentally got ready for people. Yeah, I didn't want to see anything good. So
I suppose that's like human nature and like it's a psychological thing at that point. When you're going up against guys, you got to see him not as like spectacular. You got to see him as like, okay, I beat him here and get that confidence because otherwise you go on stage and you won't have that level of confidence.
Right.
Yeah, I sent you a picture with Jed the first time I saw him in 2010. He was 6 weeks out for the Olympia. Like the width of the guy was just like that was 2010.
Man, look how big that is. Like, yeah, that's ridiculous.
I can't get over Stan, boy. Look at
it. Stan looks like a child.
Stan just got off the playground playing pickup basketball, right?
Yeah, man. I was.
Bro, how old were you here?
That was 2010, 14 years. I was 20.
20, bro.
So 2010, did you say?
Yeah. 22. Wow. 22.
Man, that's crazy. That is crazy. 10-year transformation is pretty decent, man.
Chris, what was last year competing? 2010?
8 or so like that.
2008?
Yeah, something like that.
Oh, yeah, that's when
Chris.
That's when you were 295 and then you got sick.
Yeah. The shit we didn't see.
I didn't know you didn't end up coming back after that. Damn.
Yeah, I came back twice. Crazy.
Yeah, you came back. I remember you came back, and I remember like following all the footage and photos that were coming out leading up to that comeback. And I know you tore your tricep. So was that like,
bro? Man, that was the fucked up thing because that was the most fucked up situation because. Like, I'm coming back and like, okay, I'm going to bring this back. Because think about it, you strip all your body down, like it was down, come down 50 or 60 pounds. Trying to come back, which I should have just held off. I should have just held off and waited because Muscle Tech was trying to rush me back onto the stage. You want to save your contract, blah, blah, blah. They was paying me a substantial amount of money. So they wanted to see their returns, but I should have waited because you can't, just when you get some newfound size, just like Brent, you got some newfound size, you got to solidify that shit. Just like if it was a brick house, you got to solidify that body. You can't just, as soon as you get up to a certain weight and then you go straight down to a show, there's not solidified weight. You just got there, So that's one thing I wish, because then I was riding a bike with my kid on a BMX track. I used to race when I was young. So, that's why it's like I see some of these guys, roller skating or jumping off of buildings or some shit like that. It's like, dude, you can fuck your shit up in 2 seconds and your whole shit would come down. That's one thing. And then I spent so much time in the hospital with that staph infection. I wasn't about to go back to the hospital. I just powered through the tear and kept training for the comeback. And, because like I said, I felt so like fucked up in the hospital that, I was not going back. That's for sure.
Yeah. So when something like that happens to you, I'm assuming it scares the absolute shit out of you, man, because you were in a coma,
for a
substantial amount of time. I remember when that happened and being like, I wonder if Chris will ever come out of it. Like, no one knew, man. Like, you were obviously not aware of anything because he was in a coma. But it was like, how long was it, man? It was like a month at least.
Month and a half, yeah.
Damn.
What's it like when you wake
but
up?
I woke up and I actually thought I was still doing Olympia. I thought I'm trying to fucking figure. I thought I was just in there for a few days, and everyone looked at me all strange and shit. Like, no, it's been a month and a half. I thought it was like I was freaking out on 3 days. Then I really freaked out when they told me that shit. And I was like, I'm trying to get out of here, you know.
How much weight did you lose in a month and a half in a coma?
Well, say like 230, say like 295, right? So I woke up at 230 something, and my legs and everything looked like bones, and it was a fucked up feeling to wake up to that. You know, they trying to.
And you would have been on a cycle too, man. So you've gone into a coma on a cycle.
Yeah.
Cold turkey. So your hormones have crashed while in a coma.
I was sweating bullets when I woke up. He was all fucked up, dude.
I was wondering if they actually
the worst thing about it is all could have been avoided just by taking care of shit like you should be, you know. Go straight to the hospital, take care of the shit, get past it. And you know, I just went the whole lazy route of a friend of mine's a doctor, he could just send me in some antibiotics. So that changed my whole shit.
Yeah. That's crazy, man. That's crazy. But at least you came out of it, bro, because the way it seemed.
I made it. Yeah, it wasn't going to be. I didn't want it to beat me, you know. But if I would have known it was that serious, I probably wouldn't have left the hospital. I didn't know like my life was in danger and shit.
Yeah, you know? that's got to be a crazy feeling. Like waking up from a surgery from like 3 hours feels crazy, but I can't imagine after 6-7 weeks. Like,
everything's shut down.
How did you feel? So obviously you came out of that coma. We'll get back on and discuss.
How did I feel?
Yeah, how did you feel like coming out of
suicidal, dude? I wanted to die. Think about it. I was on my way to train with Dorian. I was going to be away for 3 months out of America, getting ready for the Olympia, specifically the hardest thing I probably would ever put myself through. And then it just got, snapped. So,
did you have bad depression after that?
A what?
Did you have bad depression after that?
Fuck yeah, dude. I wanted to die. I told you I was begging my friend to bring a gun, and he wouldn't.
Fuck, that's crazy, man. That's crazy. Obviously, your friends are going to do that because that's insane.
Think of you just like on top of the world, and you just like you can just do anything you want at any given time. You want to, okay, let's go to fucking Europe tomorrow. You know, I was just moving around, and then I went stop like that. You know, bro, I was smoking weed in the motherfucking hospital. That's how fucked up I was. Who can smoke in a hospital? Seriously.
How did you actually do it in the hospital? Did you have one of those like? Wait, I don't have here, but I've got one of those things where it's like a little.
His boy brought it for him. What do you mean?
Like,
but I only knew people from MySpace and shit, fans and shit was helping me out.
So you were like, hey, bring me a joint.
Hook a brother up.
Fuck yeah.
We can sack up in this bitch.
But how did you get away with smoking? Though? Like literally, like
dude, we put towels underneath the door, and I was the only person in that room. I had a huge room, and it was we opened up the windows and we just fucking did it.
Nice, that's mad.
Like in school, you know.
I did when I hurt my back, because I hurt it severely. Like this was like I had 2 bad bulging discs, and anyone that saw the scans was like, "How the fuck did you do this?" Like, because it's bad apparently. So I can't tell on a scan, but I can see that shit wasn't right. So I did this in the gym, and I managed to like get out into the main part of the gym, but then I couldn't move. I was locked. Like there's no way I could walk. The pain down my leg was just like it was like numb / pain. So had no ability to walk. So I had to get carried out the gym by a few guys. And they just put me in a car, took me straight to hospital, and I was just sitting in like a wheelchair, and I was in like a lot of pain. I'm like saying to them, give me more pain meds and stuff. They kept giving me pain meds, but it felt like it wasn't doing anything. So then my partner goes, "Oh, do you want me to bring down some weed?" I'm like, "Oh, lol, that would be good," like as a joke. I was like, "No." And then she brought it down, and then she's like, "What do you want me to bring?" And I was like, "Oh, fuck." And then there's a little like brass pipe, little filter on it. Went out in the car park in a wheelchair, my legs out straight, and I'm just like this. And as soon as I went back inside, man, because I think the cold outside made my back worse. So as soon as I got back inside, I started completely freaking out. And I'm going like this, and I'm going, this is fucked. Like, it's the most pain I've been in my life. And then all of a sudden,
you're that sciatic nerve, huh?
that's what it was. I couldn't walk for about 4 or 5 weeks, but as soon as that week kicked in, I just like mellowed out and just kicked back. I'm like, yeah, it's kicked in now.
Yeah.
Like I'm good. So it was 10 times better, man, than any of the pain meds they gave me.
I fucking flew to Japan like that, and I was getting a wheelchair and shit. I was going to guest pose and I was limping like that. Like it was fucking that sciatic pain all the way down to my pinky toe, from my glute to my pinky toe. That shit was just fucking, oh my God.
Yeah.
Can't believe I did that.
Chris, did you ever get into New Bane?
Yeah, man, that was bad, dude.
Yeah, that was
everybody was doing it. I mean, everybody you can think of in the sport was doing it at that time, trying to get through workouts and all that shit. And it's man, it became the worst fucking thing you could ever fucking do because
right?
Yeah, but I mean, dude, it became from okay, we get home at night, just relaxes you. Then like, oh, it became before the workout. Then it became, before during the workout.
Oh fuck.
Then it became it's like, and then you just oh man, it was bad, dude. Then that was like a good $1,500 a month.
Oh damn.
Later, and then you're like shit, and then it was just then all of a sudden you're making trips to Mexico, getting more, and fucking oh my God, like that's why I don't even drink coffee because of that shit. I'm like, I don't want to have to need nothing to do nothing, bro. I'm like ever again in my life, dude. Needing that shit to get up, needing that shit to train, to eat, to sleep, to wake up. I mean, fuck, dude. That was bad.
Yeah, sure.
Not a good idea. I hate that fucking people introduced me to that shit. But, I made it through it.
I think as well with that stuff, like you might feel good while you're doing it, but the repercussions are not worth it. You know what I mean?
Repercussions, dude. Shit.
Yeah. Stan,
think about that, traveling to another country and all that shit. Holy shit. You're like, fuck, dude.
You panicked because what, you need it? Like, or you just
yep. I remember I was in Europe for like 4 months, and I was just training over there in Amsterdam, and then we were going to the French FIBO. So before I went there, I was like, fuck, I had to go back to America, have somebody ship it to a friend, grab it, go back to Europe, jump on the train from Amsterdam to fucking France by myself, not a fucking English, nothing in sight. I'm just fucking hoping I don't sleep too long or fucking all that shit was in my, it just fucks with you when you're in another country like that. And oh man. So then I make it up there and then, oh shit. Just something like that, man. You got to fly back to America or else you're not going to be fucking eating or training or anything without that shit.
Yeah, for sure. Someone donated $5, which is cool. They said, please tell Stanimal to quit interrupting. So I don't think he's interrupted once. I don't know what the deal is there. I saw that and I was like, he hasn't interrupted once.
No,
that's like as
be quiet,
I'll take the tip though.
So Stan, that's actually the first tip on the channel. So shout out to that guy.
Oh wow. I'm gonna interrupt more often then.
Yeah, for sure. But Stan, like, do you see any of this stuff like in bodybuilding now? Because obviously, like, not mentioning any names or anything like that, but there's bodybuilders are prone, I suppose, to some of them to have like drug issues outside of obviously the ones we all know that everyone uses. But do you see much of that in bodybuilding? Any like is New Bane still around or anything or no?
No, I think New Bane was like a whole like I don't know if it was the 90s or what. There was a whole culture about it, but I think it turned out really bad. So people be warned about that. But I think nowadays like it's not. I don't know. I mean, I'm not really around all that kind of stuff. I don't really do like body drugs and stuff, but I think most people just smoke weed.
Yeah. So I'd say the percentage of people that smoke weed on here are pretty high. Stan, I've actually never asked you, like, do you want to disclose it or no? Because I know it's legal in Vegas.
Yeah, no, I do smoke.
Yeah. So 100% on the podcast. But let's have Someone said Stan got that new name. Cool, but anyway, let's wrap up some thoughts on this 2022 Arnold Classic. If you have any questions now, I've missed a ton of them, so just chuck them in the comments right now. We can quickly answer one or two before we wrap this thing up. But yeah, overall thoughts, I guess. I mean, it was a great show in terms of the top competitors, but the whole thing was a shit show. So it's not going to be back next year, reportedly. The guy from the Arnold Classic who promoted it, what's his name? Stephen O'Lexi, who has obviously those legal things coming up as well. I believe it's November the 20-something that he's actually sentenced. So I don't know if this expo is going to be back at all next year. So he's the promoter, and it was with Eddie Hall and stuff, I believe. I did get told by someone, I'm not confirming or denying this, that basically Eddie Hall was no longer a part of one of the promoters. He pulled out and all this sort of stuff. So it seems like it's not going to be back. Chris, have you heard anything on this in terms of any details or anything, or nah?
No, not really, man. But you can all assume what's going to happen. It's just not going to be here, and it's not going to. That's just going to go away. Obviously, it's probably pop up as another show. I would assume.
But Buddy Power, that was kind of like the Buddy Power again, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So they're just doing the Buddy Power, like, because that was a successful weekend. I feel like there's a lot of people always involved, and I don't know what happened to Body Power. Suddenly they stopped. I remember you went with Nathan a few years ago, no? I'll get this. I did like 2016, 17.
Yeah, I remember that. Xavier beats for Butcher. I wouldn't have thought so. Unless you're coming down to men's physique, man.
Maybe.
Yeah, nice.
If Ronnie can get to 248, I can make men's physique.
You're doing reverse. You can go 212. You can go back to classic, then you come to men's physique. Yeah. So, and then back to amateurs as well, because I'm not a pro. So, sorry, just some comments in there. Not too many people asking questions, so we might wrap this thing up. But we had a lot of live viewers, though, which is cool. So thanks to everyone for all the support jumping on these live podcasts. I think Brett and I had about 1,000 and something earlier when we did the pre-judging. I think we got up to about 600-700 on this one. So, yeah, shout out to people getting in on this content because people are loving it. And I think by the time we ended that 50-something minutes we did before Brett, we had, I think it's close to about 7,000 views. So it was pretty crazy.
There you go.
But we're going to be back with some more podcasts as well. So I want to start doing 2 live podcasts a week. And I think we're going to do Bodybuilding University live. So leaves more potential to get in trouble and say the wrong things and stuff like that, not being able to take it back. But I think it's cool. And people love it, man, because it makes people realize that it's raw. You know, we're not like I haven't edited one episode we've done. I've literally just put it in exactly as is, unless I've like made a mistake and then I put like a little caption on there. But I think I've only done that once. So yeah, I think people enjoy that. And Chris, love to have you keep coming back on and stuff because people love it when you're on.
I love hearing your stories, man.
You're the best.
I got a fucking million of them, dude.
No, I don't even need to tell them. I'm just gonna.
Bro, I did fucking. I'll tell you some offline sometime. The real good ones.
Yeah, no, I'm.
You just gotta buy Chris dinner, and if you get him some seafood, he'll tell you all about it.
Dude, I did like 75 pro shows. You know, I got a lot of fucking stories.
Yeah. You know that.
Yeah, all the dodgy stuff that happens behind the scenes, like you find it. Like honestly, when I'm around like guys that are, you know, like have a decent name in the industry, even if I'm around like, you know, the Tony Dohertys in Australia and the big bodybuilders that are here and stuff, you sit down and have dinner and the stories that come out, you're like, holy crap. Like
yeah
people would love that. So
crazy.
Anyway, definitely keen to do that. Definitely keen to get over to the US as well with you guys and you know, talk shop and hopefully go to the Olympia at some stage. Now that travel's all good with Australia. So anyway, guys, I'm going to wrap this thing up. Chris, someone asked before, do you have your own YouTube channel? So just answer that quickly and we'll wrap it up.
What's that?
Do you have your own YouTube channel?
Man, I did. Dude, you know what? Dude, you know, because I got hipped up to it back in 2007. And I had started one, and then I just burned myself out on it because I didn't like. No one told me like okay, you got to get you need to get a crew of people to make that shit really good. And especially back then, I was doing everything, editing myself, filming myself, talking myself, all this shit, and I just burned myself out after a year, and I stopped. So I'm gonna start another one, but I just wanted to start off with the the people I'm working with. I'm working with the Wings of Strength people, Miss Olympia people. So I'm focusing on that right now, but I'm gonna have my own shit again. But like I said, back then, if I would have kept going from 2007 and kept it going the right way, it would have been crazy by now.
You have like 3 million subs.
Yeah. So the guy who started this for fitness is this Russian guy that I worked with when I was filming my videos. He told me to start it, that it was going to be big, and then he got the flag. He got all the bodybuilding under his umbrella. So all the people in bodybuilding is working under this guy's umbrella from YouTube. So he's fucking fat and happy.
Yeah, I was going to say, but just for obviously like coming on the podcast and stuff and helping me out, I suggested.
But I just like enjoying, I like teaching people, and it's like giving back to the sport that like it gave me everything I know and own, and brought me around the world 3 times, and at least I can do is try to help the next generation at least know what they're getting into, and also be smart about what they're doing. So I appreciate it.
Yeah,
you're everywhere, and I know I appreciate that. Whenever any show and see you there, it's very respectful. So just keep doing it.
It's one of those things, obviously, like from like mine, Stan, and Brett's perspective, like seeing guys like legends of the sport, like yourself, like Flex Wheeler, like all these guys that have stayed in it, Jay Cutler especially as well. It's really, really cool because some guys finish bodybuilding and they disappear. And I understand that. Like, that's obviously their prerogative. They can do whatever they want. But it helps the sport grow when these legends are still into the sport, will still analyze physiques. And, you can say and have your opinion and say the 90s was better and all that sort of stuff. And some physiques, like, obviously, were just premium back then. You and Sean Ray and Flex and all the guys back then, it was crazy. But at the same time, you still appreciate today's guys, and you analyze it, and you don't go, oh, just every single time we were better, And I think that's really cool. It helps grow the sport,
Right.
You know what I'm saying, exactly. There's some dudes that will say anytime they see one of you guys, it's not the same.
I know your delivery got to be right, but I do want to see everybody get better and keep getting better. There's more information out there now than when I was doing it, so it's no reason why we can't make a great product at the end of the day. And you'll see. I've been in the gym for at least over 40 years in the gym, so it's like you understand. It's more levels to. You get, just like karate, you got your white belt, green belt, you get up into the black belt area. That's where you think you want to be mentally. So that's all about that. Bodybuilding is like that, man. And I just love it still. And so I'm gonna be doing this shit till the end, That's in cool. Some capacity doing
it. Yeah, I feel that like there's more information out there, but I think there's a lot of information from people that kind of got in the sport.
Bro, but everybody want to be a fucking coach, though, dude. Everybody wants to be a good coach. Everybody ain't a good coach.
Like the true art, like the whole posing, the whole like how you approach the diet, like the mental aspect, all that stuff. People who've been through that, And for me, it was a blessing to have that in LA with all you guys. I definitely utilized that for sure. Having you
could have did more, man. You bring your ass to San Diego. I'll show you a little bit more.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I'll come down.
You know where I live.
Well, you come to Vegas every time too. Should link up.
Man, I just operated. It's got to be the right equipment, everything. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
To make everything as effective as you want it to be.
Mm-hmm. No, I like what they have at the gym for sure.
Yeah.
Hey Brett, I think Martin should definitely lean into this Lord of the Rings thing, and just because people, I think because we commented on it before, just slightly, I reckon he should just make like a Lord of the Rings t-shirt with his face on it or something. We'll make it on here and we'll sell it and give Martin all the profits or something.
He needs to shave his head too.
I did see a few people say that. I think you know what? I think it would look better.
In the comments enough. I'm just going to agree with y'all. I'll talk to him. Year 3 for Martin's going to be the bald look. We're gonna tell him to go with that.
Yeah, you got to look like a real Martian, dude. You got to fucking look crazy.
Yeah, some people suit bald, man. I saw one of my mates the other day when I went to school with him, and I've seen photos of him, and he's bald and he's just got that real thick beard that's real dense, but it's not very long. And I was like, man, bald suits you. You look like just a better looking dude. Like you've got that like sick look, but it's just like, yeah, it's like a brute look, you know, but it's solid, you know. It's like tapered beard and everything. I'm like, that looks good. But if I did it, I would look very bad. I know what my head looks like. Like I've got plenty of hair, so I'm good. But anyway, let's wrap this one up. We've been going for a while. It's been about an hour and 10 minutes exactly, actually. So thank you guys so much for dropping in. And yeah, appreciate it. And appreciate everyone in the comments as well. So if you like this content, share it out, subscribe, hit the notification bell button, follow all these guys, YouTube, all right, guys. Stuff.
Good to
and Chris,
see you guys, man.
If you want to get something going with your YouTube that I can help out or whatever, man, just for you coming on here, hit me up, let me know, and I'll help you out, bro.
Most definitely. All right, awesome, man. Appreciate you guys.
Good night, guys.
All right. So for myself, Xavier Wills, Stanimal Standalone, Chris, the Real Deal Cormier, and Brett the Butcher Wilkin, we are
later.
Later, man.